Number 15. Third leg. It'd be pretty cool if this were an artsy photo shoot of a three-legged young woman embracing her extra limb. But sadly, no, that's not a third leg. What seems to be the first of two normal legs is actually a vase she's holding off to the left. This is something that you can see almost immediately, but for a split second you're confused and slightly concerned. I guess the only thing to be confused about now is, why didn't she wear lighter stockings? Number 14. How many legs? This is an illusion that has been altered and presented all over the world since the first version of it came to life. The illusion is an elephant drawn in a way to have a confusing amount of legs. It was created by psychologist Roger Shepard in the 1990s. Once you look closely at the figure, it's not hard to tell what the artist has done to create this puzzling photo. Basically, each foot is placed to the right of the leg. However, looking at it as a whole is always mind-boggling and even can induce a headache. In Shepard's work, he stated, quote, "Each of the drawings in this group depicts what may at first glance appear to be something that could exist as a real object in the three-dimensional world. On closer examination, however, the object defies perceptual segregation as a whole from the non-object or background, and thus illustrates the strongest case of an impossible object." Number 13. Close friends. These two lovebirds just couldn't keep their hands off each other during their vacation. Look at the girl on the right viciously grabbing the other girl's crotch. Oh wait, this was just a mix of timing and having friends that are too close in skin tone. The girl on the left is actually holding her own dress up a bit above her legs, but the way her and her friend are positioned makes it look a little more intimate than that. You can see at the top of their shoulders where the difference is, and where one girl begins and the other ends. Yet another horrible accident at the fault of friends that are your exact skin tone. Number 12. Floating boat. All across the world there are beautiful bodies of water that are as clear as glass. Tourists come from far and wide to enjoy beautiful oceans and lakes like no other. But none are quite as clear as the water in Sabah, Malaysia. The water near Simporna Island is so crystal clear and clean that it appears to not even really be there. There have been numerous famous photos just like this one that portray a swimmer or boat floating in thin air above green or blue ground. These objects are actually just in the perfect water, but this is a great trick on the eyes. Number 11. Mom, Dad. This tabloid photo is a mix of perfect timing and perspective. While you can be led to believe at first glance that this man has a very tiny and feminine figure, that's actually his wife just bending beside him. The way they are positioned, as well as their proportions, creates this idea that her body belongs to the man. However, if you take a second look below her lower half, you can see the man's black shorts. It makes for a great laugh though, and you can almost imagine a super parent. Number 10. No change in scenery. This wonderful photo is part of an art piece. There are 4 differently colored scenes, with numerous objects in each scene. It almost resembles those old school I Spy books. However, the scene doesn't actually change at all amongst the 4 photos. This is actually one single photo, not a collage. Things are just painted and placed in a way that creates the illusion of different locations. A good way to train your brain to see the true image here is to focus on the desk lamp. It spans across the entire photo. Number 9. Timed selfie. This selfie taken of 3 girls getting ready to go out was taken from an angle that makes it seem like the girl in the background is not wearing bottoms. You can clearly see her butt. Her friends must be really rude to take this photo. Well, they're not that rude, 'cause that's actually the armpit crease of the girl taking the photo. Friends with the same skin tone always make for a perfectly embarrassing photo. Number 8. Painting. While a few of the windows featured on the side of this building are actually there, most of this is completely fake. The balconies, most of the windows, and all of the shutters are actually just painted onto the blank canvas of this building. This was done by an artist using techniques such as shading and perspective. Everything is painted on so realistically that even after looking at this photo for a few moments, you're still not totally convinced it's painted on. Imagine seeing this in person, only to realize that the details are not sticking out from the architecture like normal 3D objects. That's got to be pretty trippy. Number 7. Beard. While it's easy to see that this is just a man with a well-grown beard and his hands in his pockets, if you look a second time at those pockets, you can see that they're back pockets of female jeans. And when you look closely at the beard, it really doesn't seem to be growing out of the man's face. This long, luscious beard is actually a woman's hair. The pair is so perfectly aligned, they become one superhuman with great facial hair. Number 6. Tiny woman. These two tourists got photobombed by a very tiny woman. Or so it seems. Actually, this is another product of perspective. The woman appears so small because she is in the background of this photo, so the men appear much larger than her because they are closer in view. Her skirt also happens to match the backpack strap of the man on the right, so it seems like she's standing on the other man's shoulder. Although all of this is a second glance type of realization, and this photo probably got some great laughs and made for a wonderful story to take home. Can you imagine them being like, "Yeah, we met this super tiny woman. She was pretty chill." Number 5. Too many hands. These players are probably celebrating a win or something, but that's no excuse for having so many hands floating around. Looking at this photo is like playing one of those maze games in a coloring book. It takes a second to see whose hands belong to who, but even then we are left with 2 extra. There are hands on each of the outer players' backs. Could it be the middle player? No, both of his hands are right in front of him. And the 2 outer players couldn't possibly reach that far. Even if they could, their hands are already accounted for around the center player. Clearly, there is a 4th person behind these 3 positioned so that their head cannot be seen, and we are only left with their freaky and congratulatory hands. Number 4. Bent markers. This illusion is actually something most of us probably see every day. Just look around at your desk, and you're likely to find a bucket full of writing utensils. In fact, you can probably create this same photo right now. The way that these markers have become positioned in their storage makes it appear as if many of them are bent. However, that's just a trick of the eyes. As we know, not many markers are bent. They're just slipping beneath others, and it seems like this. Number 3. Transparent cat. Is this cat partially transparent? Or was this just the perfect pick at the local shelter? The colors of the cat's ear fur, along with this perfectly positioned photo, make it seem like you can see through the cat's ear to the man's head. It's almost as if the cat completes the man. Every pet owner's dream. Number 2. Confusing couple. This was another photo that took quite some time to understand. It can be pretty headache-inducing. It's overall a cluster of similarly toned skin and clothing. After a long time analyzing it, you can tell that the girl is behind the guy, and her legs are wrapped around him. It can be pretty easy to miss, but if you notice the male legs hanging over the couch, things start to come together a little more. Just try not to get too frustrated at this complicated couple. Number 1. The side view. Although it's hard to unsee a more rated image here, it's actually the side view of a very masculine man. What appears to be the woman's lower back is actually the man's neck, while her crack is a crease created in the man's arms. There's a very roughly sketched out man wearing a mask to demonstrate this. It's strange how after seeing the true image, you can almost switch between the dirty corner of your mind and reality on command. Bonus Photo 1. Old Baby. What appears to be the world's most rapidly aging baby, with strong and elderly facial features attached to a tiny infantile body, is actually your eyes playing tricks on you. There's an older person holding the baby at an angle that creates this effect of mixing up faces. If you look closely and for more than a second, you can see that baby's actual cute face. Bonus Photo 2. Gorilla Girls. In simple math terms, one preteen girl plus another preteen girl plus the perfect positioning of the sun equals one massive gorilla. This can serve as a reminder of just how comical the natural world can be. These two girls' shadows have somehow created what appears to be a beast of the animal kingdom. While most other guys dream of taking two lovely girls to prom, maybe we should avoid those that, when joined together, make an angry, hairy gorilla. Just a thought. Bonus Photo 3. Beauty. Alexander Koklov is the genius photographer behind the project known as Weird Beauty and 2D or Not 2D, which are part of a bigger project called Art of Face. This photo is just one of many of the faces in the series, specifically in 2D or Not 2D. Just as the project name suggests, this photo leads us to believe that at first we are looking at a simple 2D painting. But in reality, we are looking at a photo of a model who has had her face painted to appear more like 2D art. You can check out the full gallery at alexanderkoklov.com.
Got an idea for a top 15 list? Submit it at top15s.net/submit. Be sure to subscribe for future videos. Thanks for watching.